everyone to the first of 3 recitals dedicated to exploring cross-disciplinary collaboration within the arts. This first concert starts a series by exploring ways in which visual art and music intersect during a unique time in America's history, the 1930s. This point in the 20th century is of particular interest to me because of the federal government's use of the arts as a means of coaxing the American spirit back into the hearts and souls of its people. Tonight, I offer a comparison of 5 differing compositions written for the flute in and around the 1930s, with accompanying paintings, photographs, and murals commissioned by Franklin D. Roosevelt's Works Progress Administration. In this way, I hope to offer alternate entry points into the context in which these pieces were written. Using the flute as a compositional canvas, 5 unique approaches to composition emerge. The American sounds of Virgil Thomson, the experimental modernist Ruth Crawford, the romantic persuasion of Howard Hanson, the inventor of a new soundscape, Edgard Varese, and the Yankee classicist Walter Piston. I have paired these different composers' flute compositions with artwork that I feel visually reflect the musical aesthetic of each composer. So this idea of comparing and contrasting music with artwork written during the same period of time stems from a realization of my own myopic approach to the flute and its music. So often in my personal journey through previous degrees, I've learned pieces without understanding their significance outside of the canon of flute repertoire. As an undergraduate, I remember learning the major flute sonatas, the Prokofiev, Martinu, Reinecke, as works that represented a level of flute playing rather than representations of culture, traditions, social styles, and in some cases, the political tenor of the day. Art forms offer an important means of understanding history and the zeitgeist of a particular period of our shared past. Each artistic form represents an alternative portal into our collective understanding of culture. Combining or pairing visual images, language, and music has the potential for producing greater understanding of either art form, as well as an understanding of how each art form reflects our history. This became particularly apparent as I started researching the music and artwork created during the 1930s. I was most impressed by the parallels across fields of artistic expression and the insights I gained as a result. So before delving into the music, I think a brief background regarding the political, economic, and social climate during this time will help to set the scene. Let's go back in history 86 years. The year is now 1928, and the U.S. economy has made a rapid recovery from the economic depression produced by World War I. By September of 1929, the country nears the end of a fruitful decade full of optimism characterized by the economic and cultural strengthening of a nation. American products such as the typewriter, sewing machine, cash register, elevator, etc., increased exports by 10%. Between the first and second decades of the 20th century, American companies such as Sinter, International Harvester, Westinghouse, Heinz, Carnation Milk, all experienced record growth. At this point, the national unemployment rate was only 3.2% of the workforce. And by September of 1929, the New York Stock Exchange peaked at a record high. In the following month of October 1929, the stock market performed erratically until October 24th, Black Thursday, occurred. The collapse of the market lasted a total of 3 weeks, during which time the average value of stocks had declined by over 50%. Public confidence was devastated as one of the most symbolic representations of national prosperity, the New York Stock Exchange, tumbled dramatically. Fast forward 3 years when Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected into office in 1933. When he started his presidency, 25% of the nation was unemployed, which meant that roughly 13 million adults were without jobs. To address this crisis, he proposed the New Deal, which sought to stabilize the banks, create jobs for many of the unemployed, invest in public works such as highways, libraries, schools, bridges, and bolster a defeated American spirit. Creatively, the administration used the arts as a way of investing in the communities and traditions of America, drawing upon a collective work mentality that helped to get many Americans back on their feet. One of Roosevelt's famous quotes from this time period describes his steadfast support of the arts. I quote, "100 years from now, my administration will be known for its art, not for its relief." So various federally funded art programs and their accompanying acronyms came in waves through the 30s. First was the Public Works of Art program, PWAP, which was created by the Department of Treasury in 1933. The Federal Art Project, the FAP, was instituted 2 years later after the Works Progress Administration, WPA, was established in 1935. The FAP encompassed many different programs that funded artists to create artwork to be installed in public spaces. Tonight, you'll be viewing artwork that was funded by the PWAP program of 1933, murals that were funded by the section of painting and sculpture in 1934, paintings that were funded by the easel division of the FAP, and photographs that were commissioned by the National Park Service to decorate the Department of Interior building.